I remember around 2003, I got an email from a bloke named David Hoffman, and he was like kind of an eccentric journalist. He'd done a lot of researching and writing outside the mainstream on the Oklahoma City bombing, and he was in Los Angeles. He was poor. He'd been struggling with chronic fatigue syndrome for a long time, and I ended up interviewing him, and we met at a bar and became friends. And I was writing a website called setgo.com at the time, and David was an excellent writer, and I hired him to write some pieces. And like me, David had been struggling with chronic fatigue syndrome for the longest time, and struggling as a freelance journalist outside the mainstream to earn a living. Very difficult to do. And with lack of financial success and the lack of good health, he was finding it hard to connect with women, which was just making his depression even worse. He thought he'd change his luck by moving to Europe, and he did that for a while, but I'm afraid he got thrown in prison for some reason. I don't fully remember now, and he just had an absolute miserable time. So no matter where he was miserable for as long as I knew him, and was talking about suicide. And I think I probably last spoke to him on the phone like 2005, 2006. He was back home in Peabody, Massachusetts, and just struggling with ill health, with the cold, lack of success in his career, lack of success with women. And I didn't hear from him anymore. And the other day, back in October of 2010, I got an email from someone saying that David M. Hoffman, age 48, of Peabody, Massachusetts, died in 2008. So considering the depression he was suffering from and his numerous suicide attempts, it seems like he finally ended his life. He was as unhappy, and as long as I knew him, not religious, so he didn't have that as a way to find meaning in life, even when you're not successful in the world of career and women. He wasn't particularly attached to family or to any community or to friends. So the lone male with chronic ill health, failing career prospects, and little success with women. So I guess I'm particularly struck by this story because I've had many of those same problems. I've struggled with chronic fatigue syndrome since I was 22. I've been trying to make a living as a writer, but outside the mainstream, since 1995. And when you're struggling with your health and struggling with your career, it is hard to get married. I've never been married. And I guess I've latched on to organized religion. It gives me a community and a purpose and meaning and a code to live by, and rituals, and connects me to other people. And I guess it's Judaism, probably more than anything, has helped me from a fate such as David Hoffman apparently ended up with. And then I've been lucky enough to be able to study Alexander technique intensively over the past 2 years, which has helped bring a lot more tranquility to my otherwise troubled soul.